So fear is really, it's underestimated, right? So you get people, they're afraid to lose their job to speak out. Like I posted this on one of my posts the other day on Facebook about Germany, and it wasn't only the Jew. It's like and we've seen this exactly happen. So the first people, by the way, arrested in the concentration camps in Germany were not Jews.
Yeah.
Well, some of them were.
So,
They were. It wasn't targeted Germans. There's communists, capitalists, liberals, conservatives. It was any dissenting. It was any dissenting like part of society. Anybody who's
the fringe minority, if you will.
Exactly. So fear is what's used. So the Jew, for example, when they became really a heavy target as the 30s escalated in Germany, if you spoke out and said, I don't support what the government's doing to Jewish people, you were now a Jew.
Yeah.
And that would have an effect on your social standing and on your job. So the way the government in Canada is calling this an anti-vax protest, they are right. It is an anti-vax protest. But ask me why.
Yeah, tell me why.
Okay.
Why, Chris? Why?
The definition of anti-vax changed twice in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
A summary of it is the very first anti-vax definition was someone who doesn't take vaccinations. They're against vaccinations.
Simple.
They changed it. It now became people against the current inoculations. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in November 2021, they changed it to people who are against the current inoculation. Now, they didn't use the word inoculation. I just hate to call it what they're trying to call it.
Yeah.
Because they had to change the definition of that too.
Yeah.
Right. In order for that to fit. They changed that in July of 2021. The word vaccine had to have a change in definitions. Current inoculations could be classed under them.
Yeah.
So this is not misinformation. You can look it up on the internet.
If it's not misinformation, it's disinformation. It's one of the two.
And I guess you got to burn Merriam-Webster.
Yeah.
So they changed anti-vaxxer to anyone who's against the current inoculations and anyone who may have taken it and are against government mandates.
Yeah.
Look it up. Like I will get off the podcast.
No, I've looked it up already. I've seen what you're talking about.
It is frightening that this is going on. So just like I don't like what the government's doing with those Jews, you're now the Jew.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So now if you support, and this is going to affect your job, this is going to affect your social standing. Fortunately, because of the internet, this small fringe minority is not so fringe. Like you said with protests, you actually felt like your voice was heard for the first time in a couple of years, and they've made it. And so this is where I'm getting with the fear.
And I didn't even say shit there. I was just soaking it all in. I wasn't even speaking. I was like, people were just, like, in 2 years. We'll get back to what you're saying in a second, but I just want to bring this up. In 2 years, I haven't like complete strangers came up to my kids. They were sitting in their little wagon, and they're like, "Oh, you guys, here, let me get you some flags." And they gave them little Canadian flags, and they're all friendly to the kids. And for 2 years, I live at fucking Yonge and Eglinton. For 2 years, everyone will walk by my two kids and think nothing of them. For the first time in 2 years, somebody walked by and was like, "Oh my God, these are children. Let me interact with them." Right? It was like, in my head, I'm like, it was almost like I was weirded out by it, but I was not. I was like, wow, this is what this has done to be. Like, I'm strong enough, and me and my wife are strong enough to withstand this. But I'm like, there are some people who are still out there thinking that, strangers, nice strangers coming up and doing a good thing to other people is not acceptable anymore. And I'm like, and I was like, wow, I missed this. This is what humans are. Sorry, and go back to sorry.
And you're in the big city, by the way, makes it even worse. Like living here in Belize, a low population, third world country, like people here are so freaking helpful. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no.